So that's our motto. But the second part of our motto is community trumps all. I can't chop the wood, build the fire, cook, wash the dishes, hoe the garden, go up and gather firewood, go up, I can't do everything. But as a community, we can. And I can tell you that there is great power in being organized as a community. And it's something I've been working on for a long time. How to organize a community in a disaster. And so we have a plan, actually a pretty good community organizing plan for Diamond Valley. When the time comes, hopefully we'll be able to implement that. But it will require that everybody participates. Everybody has something to contribute. My father-in-law is getting a hip replacement here soon, and if he doesn't mind my saying this, because it's too late, I said it already. but he's non-ambulatory. He can't hike up in the mountains and can't gather firewood, but he's a ham radio expert, probably more so than anybody I've ever met. He's what we call an Elmer. He's forgotten more about ham radio than I'll ever know. So he'll be sitting at the table with a ham radio operating in front of him, and he'll be able to contribute something to that. Everybody has something to contribute, and that's the beauty of a community. And the idea of being anti-fragile means that you are a generalist. You're willing to accept, understand randomness, uncertainty. You have some expertise to do a little bit of anything. You should be able to change the oil in your car. I wish I had the list. I think it was Robert Heinlein said, you should be able to change a diaper, change the oil, chop the wood, build a fire, cook. And he gave a long list of things that in his estimation were essential skills. I worry about the new generation because I watched a video of a college class where the guy was opening a can with a can opener, and the students were mesmerized. He finished opening it, he pulled the lid off, and they went, yeah! Opening a can with a can opener, they got a standing ovation. I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so good. You have to be willing to live with unpredictability, because that will make you resilient and then anti-fragile. Just bouncing back isn't good enough. I mean, I hate to say it because it sounds crazy, but I kind of look forward to the time when we have to be independent up here and take care of each other. Could be, yeah. Susan's not looking forward to that.
Yeah. Solar flare.
Questions?
Yeah.
Everything.
I don't know.
Cars don't start.
Tonight,
Nothing electronic works.
concerns about nuclear radiation in Los Angeles.
That'll do it.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
What are the things that we can do there?
Well, depending on the seriousness of the rainfall, we can prepare to die.
Nobody used to know this. That's
The key will be to stay indoors for as long as a couple of weeks.
Anything's
And
just
then,
not solid state.
if you have potassium iodine pills, you can buy them. They will minimize your intake through your whatchamacallit glands. Thyroid glands they're the most sensitive to radiation, and they will absorb it. And so if you take potassium iodine, or if you get iodine in salt, or if you purify your water with iodine, it will help prevent the thyroid from absorbing the radiation. But really the key is just staying away from the fallout. So you got to stay indoors for a couple of weeks. Hope for the best. They say that the half-life after a blast is, they reoccupied Hiroshima within They were back building and clearing rubble and stuff in 2 weeks. The idea that it's going to be 2 million years before it's safe to return is not. So nuclear fallout's a good thing to think about. What would we do here if we had nuclear fallout? The further away you are from the radioactive material, the better. So, how do you stay away from it indoors? If you got a basement, that's even better, right? You got a story on top of the house to keep you further away from it. What other questions you guys have? Make sense? We are going to build a community here, I promise. I'm not sure when or how, but that is my determination. I'm absolutely determined to be anti-fragile, to prosper when things go bad.
I'm saying on what Kevin says here, when something happens like this, which eventually will happen, and you know that, you don't know when, but it adds to people pulling together in a spiritual way. You have to rely upon prayer, you have to be faithful, and you really need to trust each other and pull together and get outside the walls of your own home and reach out to other people. And so when Kevin says that he's actually kind of looking forward to it, I think that's what he's really saying, is that people will truly become their best selves when something like this happens. I think we have a tendency of going through life and we're just in cruise control and until a major event happens to us personally. So when something happens to society, then it just changes everything.
It does, and a couple of quotes come to mind. One is, at the time of the Revolutionary War, I want to say it was Thomas Jefferson, it might have been, he says, we will either hang together or we will hang separately. Meaning, if we don't stick together, we're going to end up on a British gallows. And it was a different context, but the concept is the same. The only way we'll be able to make this work is in a community setting. I really believe in that. And I've had some crazy experiences with the power of a community. I'll give you just one quick example. When I lived in New Jersey, we had a camp in the primitive camp in the Pine Barrens, and it took a lot of equipment to run a class for 100 people. So we would bring in a big truck or several trucks and load all of our equipment in and then load it back out. Well, we rented a truck to haul everything back home to the but it was a 26-foot cargo van, not a moving van, but an actual transport van, 26 or 28 feet. Well, we drove it down. My senior instructor drove it down and managed to turn it around, and he got it into a location that he couldn't get out of. He was stuck. He couldn't turn this way and back out. He could only turn this way and back out, but there were trees there, and he was completely jammed. And he said, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to move the truck 20 feet or 15 feet. I said, all right, let's do this. And he says, what are you talking about? I said, we got 100 people here in this class. Let's pick that truck up and move it. And he says, you're crazy. They can never move that truck. I said, let's see what happens. Got 100 people around that truck. Everybody picked it up, moved it over 20 feet, set it down. Wow. I'm telling you. And everybody looked at me and goes, you really could do that? I said, I had no idea we could do that. I was just hoping for the best. I said I didn't have anything else, so let's give it a shot. And it worked. And it was awesome. It was astonishing because, everybody was like, yeah, we did that, Everybody's taking pictures of themselves in front of the truck. We moved this truck. And, you can look down the ground, you can see where the tires were sliding along the ground. They weren't carrying it, they were moving it, And we got the truck out of there. So when you put a group of people on a problem, on a task, you'll be astonished at what you will know. So thanks for letting me talk today. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, I fortunately got to hear you speak before, but tell them if you could supply on anything or oversupply on anything, what would that one thing be?
Medicine.
Well, PP.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm willing to do without, and toilet paper is not on that list. So, thank goodness for Costco. Just go buy 36 rolls for $15 and stockpile. Yeah, no, that's good.
But actually, Kevin's point about medicine, most people either just have a 30 or 90 day supply, you know. I take something that I ran out of, and man, it was like pulling teeth to get a couple more pills until my doctor's appointment. I was like, oh my gosh, you're very, very vulnerable if you don't have an adequate couple months supply of your medication. And that can be, for a lot of people take a lot of medication, a variety of medication.
I do, you know.
Kevin, tell them what you said, again, what you taught before is what the military found out about medicine and how long it really lasts.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Don't throw your antibiotics away. You take a course of amoxicillin or C-Flex or whatever, Cipro, and when you're done with it, you got 3 or 4 pills that'll save them. It says best used by expires such and such a date. What we discovered is that pills, medicine in pill form, will last almost indefinitely. During the first Gulf War, a bunch of an Army Special Forces group that I worked with put a Connex at the airport in Riyadh. They had a whole bunch of Connexes. That's for the next time, essentially. So they had this Connex in Riyadh, and it was filled with medical supplies, pills and IV bags and bandages and everything like that. And after 10 years, well, it was 92 to 2003 when we went back into Iraq, 2004, so 12 years, they went and reopened that. This thing, Connex, had been sitting in 150 degree sun for 10 years. And they tested the efficacy of the pills, and the pills were full efficacy. No degradation in that kind of heat. They tested the IV bags. If they were clear, they were still good, but many were discolored, so they discarded them. So you got to understand that. Don't throw stuff away. Old pills. They say, "Oh, throw your old pills away." Don't. If you don't want anything to do with them, bring them to me. You'll
be the drug dealer.
I'll be the drug dealer.
What do you say about old food stores?
The cans almost never go bad. If the can is bulging, you have old food storage, and the can is bulging, throw it away. Don't even open it. But if it's not bulging, open it.
Yeah.
Give it a try. Some stuff, like I was just reading something today actually, that they had opened sugar that they had stored 25 years ago. They opened a number 10 can of sugar. They turned it over and it came out in a solid block. Because they put oxygen absorbers in it, and oxygen absorbers doesn't work well with sugar. It makes it rock hard. So they had to hit it with a hammer and break it down, and then it finally granulated again. But then when they first opened the can, it smelled really bad, and they thought, oh, it's ruined. Well, no, sugar smells bad when it's stored and when you open it, but after you let it air for 10 minutes, it's fine. I didn't know that till today. So don't waste food. If you got some grain and it's got weevils in it, hey, there's horses here that will need to eat. Don't throw stuff away.
Chickens love weevils.
Chickens, right? Clark will take it and he'll feed his chickens with it.
You can scream the weevils out.
Well, you can eat them. They're
Oh
just
yeah,
extra
they're just extra
protein.
protein.
When you get to that stage, that's seriously, you're not going to be thinking about weevils.
Yeah, we're not worried about that. All right, well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Okay.